Boom, just like that. Boy, oh boy, I've had a shitty start to my day. I'm going to be absolutely honest. I really have had a rotten start to my day, right? You know, when you're working really hard, this is the Midday Show. I'm Russ Kane, here's Phil Day. So I get a letter this morning in the post from some, what are these bastards called? They're certified enforcement agents, right? Certified enforcement agents.
Right.
So, and it's very, I'm not going to show you, it's got my address.
Are they bailiffs?
They're bailiffs, basically, these bastards. And it's all very informal, and I owe this, and so suddenly I owe these people nearly 200 quid, and I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, why do I don't know these people? What? So I phone these up and go through various, press this, press that, press the other, you know, the usual crap, yeah. And I get through to some woman who's just like a robot. I said, it's the Dartford Tunnel. I said, I haven't used the Dart. What do you mean the Dartford Tunnel? I never go in the Dartford Tunnel. So do you have such and such a car? I said, the colour of my car is irrelevant. I haven't been on the Dartford Tunnel. And then they go, oh, it's from May last year. So I go, what? It's from May. I said, I haven't received anything from you. Well, you'll have to take it up with them. I said, with who? Well, it's been handed to us. Now you can pay now. We want your mobile number. I said, you're not getting my mobile number. You're not having my mobile number. And the number I'm calling on, I've already blocked. So you don't know what number I'm calling on, because I always do that. It was on my mobile, but I blocked it. Right. So I'm like, who the hell knows? I've had no notification from these people. Dartford bloody crossing. What is it? 4 quid, 5 quid? How does it go from 5 quid to £191? For what?
Well, I mean, what it boils down to, in my humble opinion, is just legalized mugging. I don't care what anyone says.
Absolute freaking mugging. So screw you, Dartford Tunnel. Screw you, enforcement agencies. And, you know, when you're working really, really, really hard and every penny counts, you get some shit like this. It's infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. I'm livid about it. I really am.
No, I'm not surprised at all.
Because they can just turn up. You know, they can just turn up and say, oh, we'll take this, we'll take that. And you go, like, what? For a 5 quid toll?
And meanwhile, the real criminals are getting away with it.
So let's deal with some of the real criminals. The woman in Bristol, the Black Lives Matter woman in Bristol, right? She was in charge of pulling over the statue, the Colston statue, shoving it into the river, walked away with all the money. You mugs. Walked away with the money. How much was she asked to pay back? She stole what? She raised, it was like £5,000 in Uber fees. Seriously. Right, so she stole something like 40 grand. They raised 7. God knows where the rest of the money's gone. You know, who knows? How much was she asked to pay back, Phil?
2p's probably. Nothing.
Pound. Pound. So she causes racial division, destroys statues, gets everybody stirs up. Everybody's hating everybody else, and she's asked to pay back £1. We are stuffed in this country. Stuffed.
I don't understand why we're so afraid to stand up for those who are genuinely vile members of society.
Just a crook. She's a crook. Say what it is.
And those who ultimately are sort of law-abiding are the ones who get picked on. It's bizarre.
No, it's pathetic. There's me of the Dartford Tunnel a year ago, which I'd set up an automatic payment. So God knows what happened to that as well. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? But she can do all that damage with her righteous indignation. And she's a thief and a crook and a scam artist. That's what she is. And she's asked to pay back out of the 70 grand or 40 grand. Really, it was irrelevant. £1. Jesus. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just a joke. God. Lie, they. So, what are you wearing today, brother? What is this? What is this?
I'm working from home today, you see, so I'm not quite as cravated up as usual.
Well, there's a hint of the Charlotte Church about the scarf wear. Gotta tell you,
the hint of Charlotte Church,
or as I call her, Charlotte Mosque, voice of an angel, brain of a peanut.
No, I absolutely promise you there's no hint of that on this scarf at all.
But have you seen that they're
I know
selling
exactly
this
which scarf you're talking about.
shit?
but
Yeah,
I've
they're
completely
selling this shit because it's a fashion
I'm
accessory.
afraid that your eyes have let you down slightly. This is a very different. This is a black, white, and grey marble effect. It's nothing
Very
to
nice.
do
No,
with,
it's very nice. It's
nothing,
just
nothing
now,
to do with the terrorist tea towels.
Now that you see the terrorist tea towels everywhere on sale, did you see what happened with Apple? Did you see what they did with their phones?
Yeah, I did indeed.
Tell
I have to
everybody.
say, though, I'm not
Yep.
convinced it was Apple. I think that's some sort of hacking. I'm sure that's going to be
Oh, it's a hack.
revealed.
It's a hack, but it shows you the level of sophistication. These are not just idiots marching in the street. God damn. 191 quid. Sod off. That's what I say. Right. What we got going? Comments coming in thick and damn well fast. What have we got? Robert Van Buren. Hi, Russ and Phil. Barry J. Oh, no. Oh, no. Barry. Oh, the worst. Oh,
Barry has said
that's
that
the
got a bad
worst.
day today. Off to the vets to help our boy off to Rainbow Bridge. Sorry, Barry. I
sorry.
Believe me, have been there, done it on more than one occasion, and I really do know how beastly it is. Sorry,
Barry. My heart bleeds for you. I had to do it once with my lovely collie cross dog Coco. Do you know what? I never recovered. I was in bits for ages.
I don't think you should be telling him that.
Well, I'm empathizing because it's not something that's like, oh, I'm popping down to the vet, having my dog
awful.
put down.
It's completely and utterly horrible. But
Christ. Dave Sleet. Greetings, one and all. Hello to you. Are you up in Scotland, back in London? I don't know. I'm sorry we didn't get the chance to meet up. And I can't. Well, I could say my number plates were stolen. Did you report it? No. So immediately I'm going to make things like 50 times bloody worse, aren't I?
Could always say the police never do anything about it. So what was the point of reporting?
The mic is probably worth 200 quid. They're beyond that straight. Oh, they're beyond to absolutely bloody anything. Skiving thieves. Good morning, Russ. Bonjour. Bon après-midi. Ça va? Oui. Pas mal. Elizabeth Green from New York City. What's it say? Got scammed
this week. No card, cash only. Girl for a week. Only have one card. Oh, I see. So in other words, she got scammed using the card, had to cancel the card, and now she's got to use cash because she's only got one card.
Yeah.
It is a very strange and sorry state of affairs the world is in.
It's rough. It's rough. And I think we're entitled to feel angry. But it's okay to feel angry. We can feel angry. It's not like anger's a one-way street. You know what I mean? It's always like, oh, everyone else that we don't agree with, whatever, or the haters, or whatever it might be, they're angry. We're supposed to be like blotting paper and sponges and just go, that's okay.
No, it's very simple. Angry. If you're from a minority mindset, a minority group, you're allowed to be angry. If you're from a majority group or a majority mindset, you're not allowed to be angry. You're wrong. You're just wrong.
We are wrong. We are wrong. I think it's my patriarchal white privilege that I've got to pay 190.
Oh yes,
quid.
You're the worst kind of human being.
I am the worst. A law-abiding, old, white man.
Yeah. Oh, you're horrendous.
I am the worst. I should
God.
Shoot myself. Right?
Seriously, I'd give up now if I were you.
I really just should. I should just give up and just leave.
I'm pleased we can laugh about it because my God, it really is depressing. It's just awful,
freaking horrible. And of course, it's going to get worse. The reason I say that is
though I really don't understand. It doesn't even if you actually stop and think about what is happening, it doesn't make sense.
No, none of it makes sense. It's all madness.
So why?
Why
would it happen? It doesn't. It honestly, there's just nothing about it. Say to yourself this out loud. You've got a country like the UK that has been very good and welcomed people for centuries all across the world to live. All they ask in return is just to sort of follow by certain laws of the land, be respectful, be decent. That's pretty much it. That's all.
Don't frighten the man on the Clapham omnibus. That's it.
But you're basically free to live your life. Yeah. And then to top it all off, this country says we've thought one way for a long time. We've had one religion primarily for a long time.
Yeah, Christian.
And we've taught for centuries various studies that scientific evidence has proven. And yet all of that This is the generation that turns around and say, nah, we're going to change all that. A woman's not a woman anymore. Christianity is evil, in inverted commas. I absolutely don't think that. Let me be very, very clear. We're going to say that all of this time that you've been thinking to yourself, men and women should have separate toilets. No, I tell you what we're going to do with that. We'll throw them all together. They don't need separate toilets.
I want to
It's
wee
fine.
next to a woman. That's my whole thing in life. I want to walk in and wee.
Absolutely.
I might want to poo next to a woman, actually.
Hey, why not?
I might want to raise the stakes. I might want to raise the stakes. This, you know, I'm a huge J.K. Rowling fan, and the shit that she's had to take is extraordinary. And because she's brave, like Tracy Ann Oberman, I would say like Rachel Riley, like Sharon Davis, they're all brave and heroic and admirable. And bit by bit by bit, the pendulum will be pushed back.
Well, I think there's only so much people can tolerate. And actually, I have to say, I'm already starting to see what I believe is a bit of that pushback, because
I hope it's brutal.
Well, I've heard, I hear people saying things now, genuinely, that I never thought I would hear in my life. You know, people referring to the color of people's skin in the most disgusting and disparaging way.
Mm.
But not only on one side, on both sides. I was talking to some friends of mine yesterday about overhearing someone who's happened across this. I'm going to try and sort of set the scene without sort of giving away any identities, but let's just say that happened across a sort of like a bit of wall art or something like that, that was referring to an individual who was based in Africa as a journalist, if you like.
Okay.
And this person said, when they saw, this person happened to be a black heritage, the journalist in question was white.
Mm-hmm.
And this black person said, this is disgusting. How the hell can they have an African journalist or a journalist based in Africa and they can be white? Out loud in front of me. And I said, right, you do know that my family are from Africa, right? And I'm very much white. Just saying. And this is the kind of thing that I think that people have been emboldened to say. And it's ridiculous. It feels like race relations are going backwards, not forwards.
It's not feels like they are. Let's dice and slice this for a sec. And you won't get this on the BBC, God forbid. And you won't get James O'Brien saying it. Oh, James O'Brien, this week, I'll be honest, I can't stand it. But this week, excelled himself. Even by his standards. And that is saying something. And he said, the fact that you didn't feel comfortable having a man come into your toilet or changing room is a terrible reflection on you. I'm paraphrasing. That's kind of it. It wasn't that much different. And it's like, what is the matter with you? What is the matter with you? It's madness.
It is extraordinary.
It is madness. Dave Sleet says, ignorance will always make a lot of noise, but will always implode. No, it won't. Look, Dave, I admire you. You're like one of the smartest people I know, and I mean that absolutely. We are faced with a massive ignorance, starting with the flat earth believers who are just raving bloody mad, right? To there's 72 different sexes. No, that there isn't. There's 2. Okay. It doesn't implode. You can show any knowledge you like, and they go, well, that's not real. Oh, I don't know. Here's people being mutilated, shot, raped, beheaded. Well, that's not real. Oh, really? Well, what's on the video? That's not real. They're fanatics. And all these political arguments have been taken over by people who are just bonkers. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, let's face it. I think half of them are mentally ill.
I do think, though, that it would be exceptionally telling whenever there is a general election to actually see what the true results are. Because I really do wholeheartedly believe that there are certain members of society who think in a certain way, who feel as though they're never going to change their opinion just because a load of minority individuals, and I don't mean minority in terms of race or religion or anything, I mean in mindset, okay? Minority in mindset individuals start making a racket and saying, oh, the world is terrible, it's disgusting, how dare you think like that, so that you always thought for how many hundreds of thousands of years, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? That's not going to change their minds. Not at all. It's never changed my mind. It's never changed yours. Anyone else I know who thinks in a certain way, I have never, ever known them to change their minds to suddenly wake up and think, oh, my goodness me, biology has been wrong all these years. What are we going to do? How terrible. How stupid of us.
And every time they've dug up a skeleton from the past, it's either been
oh,
a
no,
man.
they can't identify the skeleton now, whether it's male or female, in case they didn't identify as such. So
well, like at the Battle of Agincourt or something. Like when they were about to get an arrow in their face, they were going, "Do you know? I'm worried about my sexuality, and I'm not sure. I might be intersexual. I might be gender. Oh, there's an arrow. And they're dead.
That's why they got the arrow. They weren't concentrating.
They weren't concentrating.
They were so distracted by these big things in life.
Big things, yeah. I think the Freudian interpretation of that is very clear.
But I just believe that an awful lot of people keep their opinions to themselves because they're worried about the backlash. So, for example, I'm sure this becomes a massive shock to you. I'm not one to keep my opinion to myself.
You're kidding me.
No, it's outrageous.
I've known you 20 plus years and you're telling me this now.
I know, so sorry.
Actually, I was thinking, how long have we worked? I was thinking we must have worked together.
I hate to tell you, it
years.
is. No, I'm afraid it is. It's around. I think it was 2006 we first worked together.
Jeez.
Wow, so there you go. Yeah, sorry about that.
No.
You've done very well, though.
I've lasted the course.
You have. I mean, unless a person would have cracked before now, but you haven't.
No,
so
you're
that
right.
In itself
when it comes to the only things that crack me, these.
Oh yes, that
stupid debt collectors for nothing. Oh.
See, I find it extraordinary how they managed to find your address.
Yeah.
For the debt collection, but they didn't manage to find your address.
I've had no notification from the bloody Dartford crossing bridge people, right? Nothing. And yet these geniuses managed to track me down. How is that possible? And I'm really good with my filing. I know you wouldn't think so. I actually am. I have a proper thing. Phil, I have a number of personal friends who are from Certifica. In fact, one of my dearest friends is Jewish. And I had the pleasure of being part of his wedding in British Columbia.
Well, there you go.
What's that about then? What?
My point being,
that was like a travelogue there. That was like
I know, but my point being,
Michael Palin coming on the show suddenly.
It's Asa.
This is Asa Dan Brown. Yeah.
Look, I have a very simple theory in this world.
Okay.
I don't care who someone is, where they're from, what their religion is, what their background is, what the color of their skin is, even. What I care about is being decent. What I care about is people respecting the land that they are lucky enough to call home, wherever that may be in the Western world or anywhere in the world for that matter. Just be aware that if we are lucky enough to live in a land that is really, in the grand scheme of things, quite trouble-free. I know we have problems here, make no mistake.
Yeah,
I'm fully aware.
In London.
I'm fully aware we have problems here.
Yes, we do.
But by and large, we're a country that is quite trouble-free.
Yeah.
And if we're lucky enough, to live there,
there's food in on the shelves, etc., etc.
What kind of lunatic wants to go ruining that for everyone?
Well, we know. It's like a cancer. You know what type of lunatic wants to ruin it. It's like a cancer. We have ourselves to blame, and we have the weak, pathetic, craven politicians who have allowed this to happen.
Absolutely.
They are disgraceful. They are all of them.
Ever find yourself asking, what would Margaret do?
I don't know. God knows.
She'd be absolutely spinning if she thought of what was going on today. Dear, oh dear.
What would anybody with half a brain do? I don't know what. See, if you're in debt to the mafia, right, I understand it's very scary, terrifying. All right? I get it.
You do?
It's a long story. But I don't know what the politicians are so scared of. What are they actually so scared of? What is it that makes them behave like craven cowards, the craven cowards that they are? What is it? And I'm not talking about Joe Biden, a man clearly with dementia. It's a disgrace. I feel sorry for him that they're still.
I feel
it's
more sorry for his family, to be honest. I tell you for why.
they could
because
say
his
he's
family
ill.
are probably looking on in horror, thinking of how he's just being,
It's
taken gross
Obama.
advantage of, really.
Obama pulls the strings, and Biden's just the marionette that doesn't even work properly. Doesn't even work properly. It's shocking. If you cared and loved for somebody, you would not let that happen to them on such a public platform. Put aside politics. This is just humanity. You see a guy so clearly struggling. You wouldn't let that happen. I wouldn't let it happen to my mum when she had Alzheimer's. It's revolting. They're all politicians are disgusting. What does Dave Sleet have to say?
Mr. Sleet, as ever, feeling utterly inspirational in his quotation here, where he says, knowledge standing up is not us as individuals explaining, as Phil says.
What?
So many stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge standing up is when people stop staying quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That is why the ignorant will drive the fear to keep people with knowledge quiet. Breaking the fear will allow the knowledge to stand and the ignorance to implode.
Be nice.
Biggest problem, though, with that, Dave, is that these people are allowed to vote. And I'm afraid that, as much as I love the sentiment, I'm afraid that it doesn't
Dave,
quite mean that they won't have quite the impact on society when they want to. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing that I loved. Sadiq Khan, your friend.
Something similar.
Sadiq Khan, right? When it came to the firework display for New Year's Eve, the Sadiq Khan firework display, which you're paying for, obviously, right? Because there's no such thing as it's government funded. What government funded means you're paying for it because you're paying your tax. So that's a phrase that's just bullshit. Anyway, when it came to the firework display, with his name all over it, like he paid for it personally with some largesse, you had to bring photo ID to get to the firework display on the places where you could watch it along the embankment on the Thames, which is the river in central London. Because people watch this all over the world, so the Thames, central London, right? He's objecting to having to bring photo ID when you go to vote. Go work that out. Go work that out. The absolute fulcrum upon which democracy stands, the voting system. And you know it's been scammed. You know it's been scammed. Postal votes, scam. People voting in the names of other people, scam. Because you look around and you think, how do these people get voted in? Oh, I see. But the hypocrisy is incredible. Of course you should have ID when you turn up. You can't just say, yeah, I'm here to vote. Of course you should have ID. You should be legitimately, properly authorized to vote. The end. Not a big deal. And if you haven't got it,
I've never understood.
Vote.
I've genuinely never understood why people object. Well, I do understand why.
You do know. You know perfectly well why.
Never understood why people are so anti the idea of ID cards. The truth is, most of our data is out there already. Okay, yeah. I love the way that people think they live
off the grid. They think they live off grid.
They live a secluded life. They live underground, so to speak, and that no one can track or trace them or do anything.
Yeah, right.
Believe me, if someone has to be found, they could be found if the authorities had the inclination,
unless
had the resource.
No. You won't be found if you've injured 6 people with acid. They won't find you because
that might
there's no CCTV that is subtle enough and has enough technology to spot someone with half their face hanging off.
That might hurt the poor police officer.
Go over the Gartford crossing. Oh, they'll find you.
Mm-hmm.
Throw acid in people's face and maim them for life. They won't find you. I think that's kind of how it works. That is technology.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is anyone who objects to the idea of ID cards probably has something to hide. I have nothing to hide. I don't care. There's literally not one part of my life that isn't already out there. So what's the point?
It's all bullshit. Everything, the digital footprint, I hate these phrases, but it is what it is. The digital
By the way,
footprint.
I'm not getting emotional. I've got a very watery eye today. It's driving me
Of
mad.
course
Sorry.
you have. No, it's the thrill of working with me. I get it. Look, you're only
Sorry.
human.
Yeah. I had this really weird thing the other day. Sorry. Remember the digital footprint, but before I forget, it's a really weird thing where my eye wouldn't stop watering, and yet the actual eye itself was drier than, well,
dry like the desert.
Drier than a Pinot Grigio. It was bizarre. But anyway. I had to go and get eye drops and everything.
That's peculiar, isn't it?
Aye. Anyway, sorry, you were saying about digital footprint. Sorry.
Well, the digital footprint of everybody is absolutely huge. There's a million ways. How do you think scammers work? Everybody knows everything about everybody else. It's ludicrous. So, an ID card, I don't have a problem with that. I've never
had them already.
I've never had it. You have to have a driving license.
I was going to say, for those who have a driving license and a passport, you've kind of got the ID cards already.
Precisely. I have a formal function at the House of Lords at the beginning of next month, which I've been invited to. I'm very honoured, and I have to bring a proof of identity. Of course, I do. I'm not going to say it's my right not to. No, of course I'll bring. You're
going to say, don't you know who I am?
No, you do that. I tried that, and they said, "Are you Phil Dave?" I went, "No," and they threw me out.
No, I say, "Don't you know who my father is?" And then they turned around and said, "We tried asking your mother."
What?
You're welcome.
Holy moly! Hey, what was I going to say? Anyway,
now I know I'm in trouble.
Why?
I got the shaking of head from Chantal Rickards after that little pun.
What she was doing was just loosening her beautiful, golden, flowing, soft locks.
Got to be careful. Got to be careful, Chantal.
Like
I tried to loosen it as well, and I made it a little too loose.
This is it. Thank God you told her, because that would be awkward, and she'd be embarrassed. But she'd still be my friend. Obviously, I wouldn't sit next to her at BAFTA. She could invite. I'd sit like a few seats along, because I'm very.
On the plus side, people have stopped calling me Mein Herr. Now then, oh dear, slipped into German.
That's very good. That's very.
So sorry.
Oh, I got to just throw forward, as we like to say in the radio business.
Throw forward. Why? You're going to be
Monday.
Sick? Oh, I see. Sorry.
Monday's show with me and Longy Long is. I like to give up and coming singers and actors a chance. Somebody new as you know. I've got this young up and comer. Chantal may have heard of him. Called Jess Conrad. Jess Conrad, a young, just starting out in the business, with somebody else just starting out in the business called Simon Withington. And Simon's got this silly idea of doing a series called like When Something Goes Wrong on Television. I don't think it's going to be a hit. But anyway, Simon wants to come on and talk about, when sex on TV goes wrong, when celebrity interviews go wrong. I don't think he's onto a winner. And I know these things. But he's going to come on and talk about it. And he's bringing with him this young kid, this Jess Conrad. I know nothing about him, who amazingly, because he's only, I think, 21, Jess Conrad, his autobiography is going to be talking about that. Plus, we've got a fantastic author coming on. It's very interesting. Anyway, that's that.
Is there going to be any time for you two?
No, there'd be no time for me at all. Well, have you ever met this young? I never met Jess Conrad, but I'm sure he'd be very shy and quiet.
I have to say, though, that I didn't know you had Jess Conrad on, but I'm delighted that I actually sort of managed to wear a jacket that could have been forgiven for thinking it was one of his. Because he's known for wearing quite garish garments.
Do you think? Anyway, Simon Withington, this young kid, has been very, very charming and very, very nice. Hang on. What's this? What is this? I know the cure for watery eye thing. If it's not hay fever, what happens is that the tear duct fills with oils that block it. You need to regularly place cotton wool pad soaked in boiling paraffin, set fire to the paraffin. I could have misread that. Okay, Well, there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her. You love her. She is beatific. She is pulchritudinous.
But she's unavailable. So here's Chantal Rickards.
Yay!
Hi, Chantal.
Good afternoon.
afternoon.
Good word. Good word. I mean, not one I would use to describe myself, but
What, pulchritudinous?
And beatific, definitely not.
No, beatific, definitely.
No. I'm a Catholic. The product of a Catholic convent from the ages of 7 to 18. I don't think
so much.
Beatific.
Yeah.
I think
Chantal, take it, because I've never been described as beatific, so I'll just go with it. So.
Is that why every time I come for dinner, you know, this whole Catholic thing, I'm about to sit down and just give me like a wafer, and I'm like, this is a bit bloody weird.
Yeah.
And then I go home.
Could be anybody's.
Could be anybody.
Very good, Phil. Very good indeed.
You see, Catholic humour doesn't escape me just because I'm a nice Jewish boy already.
No, exactly. Well, I like that. You should write some good Catholic humour.
Yeah, you too. That's what you got in common. Guilt.
I was
anyway,
going to say,
there we go.
believe me. So
I was born with original guilt. That's the bad. That's the real story about me.
It's
no,
inherent in
Grandpa,
all of
that
us.
is rude. Original.
And if we're not feeling guilty, we're supposed to feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
It's fascinating, isn't it? I'm not going to get into it because it would be rude and incorrect, and it's not the time or place. But I've never, ever understood it.
No. Well, the whole thing about original
Catholicism.
No, about feeling guilty about everything.
Oh, I see.
You know, I'm not going to get into that. That would be rude. It's not my place to do so. But, you know, I think we're here for such a short time. Might as well just have a bloody good time. The end.
Quite right. Yeah, I'm just ignoring.
You're quite right. I've run out of time.
Okay.
Bye.
You go. Oh, thank God. Oh, I feel like the weight. Oh,
It's only it so far.
Anywho,
how are you, boys?
we're okay. We're okay. I have to say, just before we dive into the murky world of TV and film, Jonathan Baz, our very own theatre critic, who I admire because he tells it like he feels it. He won't be swayed. If people love it and he doesn't like it, he says he doesn't like it. And if he likes it, and he didn't like what's it called, Opening Night, the Sheridan Smith show.
Yeah,
and I read yesterday they're closing it. It's like, wow, that's cost somebody a fortune.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and somebody wrote, he said, this is the first time in my life that I've bought tickets to see a show and it's being closed before the tickets are before I can even go and see the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they've shut it. Yeah.
That shows you how difficult it is to have a play on in the West End, because clearly, you know, money says everything. And if they don't like it, they're not going to put up with it. It's
here's the thing. You vote with your bottom and your feet. You know, it's a lot of money to get. The theatre is so expensive. It's a huge decision, right? Let's go and we'll have a snack. You know, all the usual things. We've said this a lot of times. So you're looking at, you know, a few £100. You want a terrific evening, not like, well, let's give it a go. If it's like 15 quid or 10, and you think, well, give it a go. If it's no good, okay. Not if you spent hundreds of pounds and you think, God almighty, this is like...
I'm at a level with you. I think they were probably going to be worried the second they signed up Sheridan Smith. She doesn't exactly have the best reputation for rocking up to every single performance now.
Well, this is the problem. No, Chantal, Phil, I hate to say it, Phil's right. Don't forget that one of my closest friends was her agent manager for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I won't say any more than that. That's the only person who could handle. She's quite difficult. She has her issues. Well, we've all got issues, but she has certain issues. But you know, the thing about it is, and somebody said, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I went, well, they knew this before they put the show on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I'm going to get Phil on the show. I hope he's not opinionated about anything. I mean, like, you know what you're going to get. So,
what are you suggesting?
Nothing at all. So, you know what I mean? It's like, if you know the situation, you've only got yourself to blame, really.
Yeah. Well, I tell you
very
what, I saw in the theatre this week at the Riverside in Hammersmith, which, for those that don't know, London,
I know that.
West London, so it's definitely not the West End. Tickets were only £20, so that was all right. And it was very much that idea that you just said, you know, for 20 quid, if it's not any good, then, you know, you haven't lost too much. But I saw Leslie Sharp Do you remember the actress Leslie Sharp, who we basically haven't seen on our screens for 20 years? She's been pretty unwell in the last 20 years. And they wrote her disability into the play. They didn't actually resolve it, which was a bit peculiar. They sort of should have either built it in as a story or not. It just sort of felt a bit peculiar. And clearly her mobility is tricky. She was very, very, very unwell about 20 years ago and has lived a very quiet life since then. And as far as I know, this is one of the first times she's been back on stage, literally in 20 years. And she was, you remember her in Men Behaving Badly? You know, blonde, bubbly, beautiful, all those wonderful things.
I always think that's Leslie Ash.
Oh, I meant Leslie Ash. What did I say? I said
Leslie Sharp.
I mean Leslie.
Leslie Ash. Yes.
Oh no, Leslie Ash. It's funny actually, because I sort of initially, when you mentioned Leslie Sharp, I actually sort of did think of Leslie Ash.
No, my fault completely. I've written it down. It's obviously just a mad moment. Leslie Ash is who I am.
Leslie Ash. Yes, Men Behaving Badly. Of course.
Has she been recovering from lip fillers?
Well,
stop it.
No, it was something that happened to her that was horrible and awful, and there was nothing that could be done about it. So she's probably fuller lipped than she might want to be.
Well,
bless her. I didn't know she had mobility. I had no idea. Horrible.
She got a very nasty staph infection in hospital. And in fact, she sued the hospital. And as far as I know, she won several £1 million for having left basically disabled for many years.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd rather be broke like me and not be disabled. Thank you, if that's my choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather be happily broke. You know.
Yeah.
Be able to walk down to the shop.
Lovely to see her back on stage, but
good. And she acted well. She was a great actor. I thought she was a lovely actress. I mean, I thought she was always good.
I think she was nervous. I think she was nervous.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't be?
As you would be if you're.
Who wouldn't be? Yeah.
But to be honest, I actually think that's the reason why people were so shocked with what she did for cosmetic surgery, because actually she was so popular and so nice the way she was.
Yeah, she was lovely.
People couldn't comprehend why she would think she has to do that to herself.
Body dysmorphia, when we look at someone and we see them one way and they look in the mirror, hello, and they see something completely different. I always thought, if I'm allowed to say this without being arrested by the Sun newspaper, that, you know, I thought she was very pretty and attractive and nice to look at or whatever. I mean, that's not why they're there as an actress. I get it. Let's not walk down that particular minefield, but you know what I mean. So when somebody who you think is good looking, they clearly in their head see something totally different, and Phil, in your case, it would be a help. No,
don't
Phil,
worry, I don't see anything different.
No,
to you.
Everything you could get. Go to a Botox party or something. You know, there must be.
Well, but interestingly, she is still an incredibly beautiful woman.
Might feel a bit.
And actually, when she had lip fillers 20 years ago, I mean, I think we weren't used to seeing them. Now, actually, she doesn't look very different to half the 20 and 30-year-olds running around.
Idiots running around looking like trouts.
Larger lips. So, actually, she is still a very pretty woman.
Good. Good for her.
Yeah.
And what was the play called?
Sink Plunger.
I knew you were going to ask.
Stop it. What is with you?
What?
This is somebody with a serious disability.
Do you know what? You trying to moderate me tells me everything I need to know.
I know. It's great, isn't it? No one's buying it, but I thought I'd give it a go.
I'm afraid I can't remember, and I probably wouldn't recommend it. So
all right. Well, okay. Well, that was a cul-de-sac for 10 minutes. So there's a play on at the Riverside. There's a play. All right, let's sum it up. There's a play on at the Riverside Studios, which is one of my favorite places. Don't bother.
Artificially Yours, apparently.
Oh dear.
That's the one.
God, artificially yours. Oh dear.
But you know that
co-starring with one of the children from Outnumbered.
Correct. No, I try not to say, to comment on things that I haven't found interesting myself, and this probably.
But you're allowed. It's your opinion. We're allowed to do that.
I know, but I'd rather say something positive than negative.
But the thing, but Chantal, the thing about the audience of the Midday show is we're over 21. They're all grown up, and they're smart enough to say, that sounds interesting. Maybe Chantal didn't like it. Sounds good for me. Or she loved it. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And for Twitter fans, fine.
It's just... Now, last night, on recommendation, I watched Scoop, which is on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
Gillian Anderson, brilliant as Emily Maitlis.
Yeah.
For me, Keely Hawes stole it because I thought she was fabulous.
I love Keely Hawes.
And God, come on, Russell, not Rupert Everett. The other one that I really...
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell, who I once met and was utterly charming, as Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, excuse me, worth seeing. I would just say this: it made me hate the BBC even more because I really did. You know my views on that. Not all the programs, not the radio show. Just their agenda. But anyway, I guess it's a smugness. A brilliant acting. I thought the acting was superb. Script was really great. And I was amusing me thinking, I've ate in that canteen loads of time. I've walked in those doors loads of time. So that was nice. Gillian Anderson, really good as Emily Maitlis.
Yeah, fantastic.
So Rufus Sewell, I just thought I was watching Prince Andrew. It was quite extraordinary, really.
No, he's excellent.
He's a superb actor.
He's a great... I love him as an actor. It's terrific. He's in a science fiction film years ago, which I spoke to him about. I walked up to him. He was having breakfast, and I said, "Forgive me. I just want to say how much I love this film." He said, "Oh," and then we had a little chit chat about it. And where the city...
Meanwhile, his beans are going cold.
As a matter of fact, his beans were going a bit cold. I was only there for 45 minutes. Big no, I'm kidding. And Rufus Sewell, he's also in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer, Vampire Slayer, which was one of and also Billie Piper's jolly good.
Yeah, so
Billie Piper's a great actress.
Just to give a bit of context, this is a 90-minute special on Netflix, which is the dramatization of the now famous, I think, 2019 interview that was conducted by Emily Maitlis of the BBC of Prince Andrew, which he thought would sort of reposition himself and his popularity with the British public. And as we all know,
he did get that right.
Well, it all went horribly wrong. But the story, the only thing that's new really is the story of the booker, because most TV shows have bookers.
Yep.
For those that don't know, there's some nice person who is always on the phone trying to get you the next best possible person to be on the show. And Billie Piper plays the part of this young middle-aged BBC journalist who is the booker. She's slightly out of her depth with the sort of posh journo types who work for Newsnight.
See, I didn't see them as posh. It's interesting you say that. I didn't see them as posh. I saw them as a clique who wouldn't let anybody into their Guardian reading, Guardian loving, muesli munching enclave.
Yeah.
And she was just someone who was of the real world.
Yeah. And so
that was my take.
It comes from her book about different scoops that she's worked on throughout her television career. So we see the whole thing really through her eyes. And to me, that was the only thing that was sort of new, was understanding the booking process and how she got Prince Andrew on. And the rest of it, I think we knew everything. And because the interview itself was so electrifying, that, it was interesting to see it again, but I just didn't feel as though I learned an awful lot. But I thought that, I definitely wanted to talk about it. It's very well made. It's terrifically acted. And I watched it the day it came out. In fact, last Friday it came out, and I watched it on Friday. And I thought, worth seeing.
Can I ask you a very silly punter's question?
Yeah.
And this is so embarrassing, but then I don't act or anything, so I don't know. When you saw them going into Buckingham Palace, I'm assuming that's somehow green. They're not saying, "Oh yes," just to add insult to injury. Why don't you film this in Buckingham Palace? Right?
No,
how does that work?
I'm absolutely sure it wouldn't have been filmed in Buckingham Palace. I don't know where it was filmed.
It wasn't. I think it was done in the studios. I can't remember which one. It was something like the Teddington ones or something like that.
Very clever.
Where they actually basically completely recreated the inside of the palace.
Yeah.
Wow. But I was thinking when the gates open and she goes in and she's walking up the carpet to the door. The Keeley Hawes character for me, was the most interesting. Most interesting.
She played a character called Amanda Thirsk, who was the private secretary of Prince Andrew. Yeah,
and she believed him, and she genuinely thought she was doing the right thing. But it shows you, if you've never had to deal with the media, in which case you are lucky, because they can be ghastly, as we know. But when Billie Piper goes round and doorsteps Keeley Hawes at her home and said, "You've got an hour." So it's like, I'm putting a gun to your head. You can either be with us or we're throwing you to the wolves. That was, even though it's Billie Piper and she's all Billie Piper-ish, that was horrible. Yeah. I mean, the thought behind it was horrible.
True. Yeah, we don't know if that's true because there was a caveat at the beginning that said some of these scenes are fabricated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that actually happened. I haven't got a clue. But what you say about not having communication skills, what you do see in Scoop is that the communications guy who works for the palace decides to take his bat home because he clearly doesn't think the interview is a good idea.
You just said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah. Well, but I also wanted you to know there's some very exciting news from Los Angeles. Yes, indeed, that Netflix have confirmed 2 new series with Harry and Meghan. One about polo and the other one about cooking, lifestyle, love.
Please tell me you're joking. Please.
I'm not joking. I'm not. I knew you wanted to know, so I thought you needed to hear it from me.
Holy God.
This is obviously a new definition to the word exciting that I wasn't previously made aware of. But anyway.
So what? Meghan's cooking, is she?
So so it's cooking.
She'll be cooking up trouble, allegedly.
Yeah, that's right. What's she cooking up?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
So she'll be seen going to collect the kids from school.
Oh yeah, which kids are those?
Maybe.
So she'll be seen walking to the end of their garden. Yeah, there's a little outhouse where they have a private tutor or something like that.
They probably do. Yeah, probably.
So she'll go and collect them.
Okay.
She'll probably be driven down there.
Martha Stewart.
They're popping round to the Moon Bump shop.
Martha Stewart, please don't insult the domestic goddess that is Martha Stewart, please. How could you?
Netflix have okay. Walk me through this. A cooking bullshit show because we need another one, and a what? A life.
No. I think one of them is cookery, gardening, lifestyle. Entertaining
garden
relationships, friendship.
Relationships, yes, because I would want to take my relationship knowledge and tutorials from those two.
If Harry and Meghan did love your weekend like Alan Titchmarsh.
God almighty. Relationship experts.
I
don't know. They must have Polaroids of senior executives at Netflix or some shit. I don't know what.
Suspect they've all been heading off to those rose-tinted spectacle shops again.
Maybe. I think they'll do very well out of it. The polo one is so niche that I'm not sure that many people will watch that. But I think she, this is quite a brave move from her, and I think she could absolutely go of it. She's still got a lot of supporters. I know not 2 people in front of me who are not supporters, but she has got a lot of supporters. So wait and see.
Right.
Okay. If I was pissed off about getting this bloody thing from bailiffs for something that I don't even know about, that has just sent me into the deep end of this.
Well, you just make sure it's for real as opposed to a scam.
Well, I've spoken to them. I said it's Dartford Crossing. You missed that excitement. Not from a year ago. So how did it go from £5 to 200 quid? Oh yeah, I know. And they've never contacted me.
Ridiculous.
It's disgusting. I should pay it off at £1 a time.
Yeah,
like the woman in Bristol. Right, okie dokie.
I'll reply saying, not known at this address.
I'm not sure that'll work.
Well, it's worth a try.
Well,
Try it. It's not gonna, it's
anyway,
not gonna...
neither here nor there. Right, what has come across your purview?
Okay, very mixed bag this week. If you
Uh-oh.
just want a quick 4-part drama,
Mhm.
have a look at something called The Cuckoo on Channel 5 with
Oh, yes.
Jill Halfpenny. I don't think she's called Jill Halfpenny. I think she calls herself Jill
She's
Halfpenny.
Jill Halfpenny.
Yeah.
Very, very good actress, though.
Brilliant actress. It's sort of incredibly predictable at the beginning. I haven't got as far as the end, but I am led to believe that crazy woman that you see at the beginning, deceitful husband, something, a big backstory, we clearly are not on the side of the Jill Halfpenny character, who turns up unexpectedly at a big house where a room is up for tenancy.
Right.
In this house, the couple, Lee Ingleby, who's terrific.
I love him.
I know, he's wonderful.
Oh, what a... Oh, yes.
He and his wife.
We bought a zoo. Do you remember that? We bought a zoo. And if you like...
he was in that.
Oh, yeah. And he was the sidekick in George Gently.
Correct. He was great.
He was a great actor.
So he's the sort of scurrilous husband, and we're not really on his side either. Anyway, the Jill Halfpenny character turns up. She is not expected, but she wheedles her way inside this. I think the fact that it's called The Cuckoo tells you everything that you need to know. But the basic premise is...
I can relate to it.
Yeah, I know. It's like inviting Phil when he turns up and you haven't invited him for dinner, but he kind of there and he just bluffs his way in.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a blueprint.
We're going to be led down the garden path and back up again the garden path in terms of, I think she's not going to be the evil person that she at first seems. But anyway, it's a 4-parter. It's actually rather well done.
And what's it on?
It's not going to Channel 5. It's not going to set the world alight, but the performances are good and it definitely keeps you watching. So it's got something, but it feels very predictable at the beginning, but I know that it's got a twist in the tail. So we'll see what happens.
I like that. Okay. What is the thing, The Passenger? Because I haven't seen it and it's got an actor that I like in it.
I saw about 10 minutes of it, but I'm not great about sci-fi. I'm not really.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, it's sci-fi.
There's a bit of sci-fi in it. I don't know much about it, but I'll report back. I will. It's suffer and endure an hour's worth of sci-fi just for you, and I'll let you know.
No, don't be silly. Don't.
That is a sign of a very good friend.
It is a sign. Yeah. Or someone with an hour to kill.
That's
one of the two.
Never before hath the friend's love known no bounds as to sit through an hour of sci-fi.
While you're there, I have to completely throw this.
No, I'm not really here. I'm actually I'm working from home.
I thought you were with Ross King in Ross King's balcony, because that's the actual view from Ross King's balcony.
Oh, I know,
isn't it?
It looks like that.
It is. You go to because been up there and had lunch together, and you look out and it's like, oh my god, there's the Hollywood sign. It's kind of weird, but you go up side of the mountain
to the wrong Highlands.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah,
I got an invitation, and I thought, well, this is weird. And I didn't recognize the name at first. And I thought, oh, not another of these scammy things. And I looked, would I like to come for dinner? And I thought, that's very, very nice. I looked at the place, which I'm not going to say.
Yes.
And it's to celebrate James Whale. And
you got the invitation as well.
Well, yes, I did.
Yes.
I was very surprised. Well,
I haven't been invited.
He never liked you, Phil. I'm breaking it to you gently as well as I can. Subtlety for which I'm known. He never liked you.
It's fine.
Here's the thing. I was so deeply flattered and completely astonished, to be honest with you, to get this invitation for dinner. And I thought, how lovely. So I hope I'm somewhere near you in the venue, because I don't know a soul.
I'll see you there.
Good.
See you there.
That's jolly good.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, I suppose.
Yeah, well, if you'd have been nicer to him, Phil.
He's lovely.
Broadcaster.
Yeah,
I even helped set up his home studio. Damn it, I'm lovely.
Yeah, whereas I've done nothing.
No,
nothing at all, just absolutely nothing. But bless him.
It'll be
it's very generous, and I'm very flattered and hugely surprised.
Excellent.
There we are. Nice.
It'll be a fun party. Good.
It'll be very nice. What's next?
Well, I don't know if you guys ever watched Big Brother. I hated
it. No, can't stand it.
I didn't mind it back in the day.
successful. Yeah, but no, it's not my thing. But the reason I mention that is because there's a new documentary series that is on Netflix that is basically a sort of Big Brother, but it's done for real. Because in Arkansas, the crime rate inside prisons has gone through the roof. Basically, they're all feral. And so the guy who runs one of the state prisons in Arkansas has decided to do a 6-week experiment and to basically withdraw all the guards.
Oh my God.
And open all the doors of the cells. Normally, these guys are locked up in this maximum security jail. They're normally locked up for 23 hours a day. And of course, when they come out, all they want to do is punch 10 bells of hell out of the next person. Terrible, terrible violence in this jail. So for 6 weeks, he's basically unlocking all the doors to the cells, not to the outside world,
and
taking the prison guards out of that environment to see whether they can run it themselves. Now, all I can tell you, because I only watched the first episode, which is truly gobsmacking, but it's an 8-part series. So clearly they've got enough material to get you further down the story. But the first hour is astonishing because it suddenly becomes a bit like Lord of the Flies.
I was about to say, has the governor never read Lord of the Flies? That's what that's all I was going to say.
But it's really interesting because you suddenly see them trying to put law and order into the situation. It's absolutely fascinating. And I think really tells you an awful lot about basic human nature. So although I hated Big Brother, this is an experiment that's been done for real. And Netflix have got all the footage. They put cameras in before everything happened.
What's the name of this?
So anyway, it's called Unlocked. A jail.
I'll write this down because I get so many people say, "What did Chantal say this week?" So I have to write it all down, otherwise I get in trouble.
Yeah,
Unlocked on Netflix.
Unlocked, a jail experiment, and it's on Netflix. So see what you think. I mean, it's
intriguing.
It's slightly more intelligent than Big Brother, but you know,
that wouldn't be too.
They're
tricky.
renaming it Big Bother. Anyway.
Hey, on Monday, last Monday, I had a fascinating, was it Monday or Wednesday? Can't remember.
Yeah.
I had a fascinating guest called Raphael Mead. He was just charming. It was a terrific guest. And he'd been on a show called Eden, which I'd never heard of. And the notion with this show, Eden, this is linking exactly to what you're saying, Chantal, is they dumped 40 people on an island off the coast of Scotland and said, off you go. So I said, oh, how long were you there for? The idea was you were there for a year. Who the hell can take a year out of their lives to do a show?
We've done that with Castaway.
It was quite some, And the most fascinating thing he was saying is it took about 3.5 minutes before tribalism.
Oh, really?
Took place. Absolutely. And I was just that was what I was really fascinated by. He's got 2 shows on at the moment, this fellow. He was absolutely charming. I really liked it. Think of Jay Blades, and he was like that kind of level and charm and normality, if that makes any sense. It was like kind of like Jay Blades.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, so what are you left with? He said, you've got nothing. You've got to get the food, you've got to forage for food, you've got to build a shelter, you've got to do this, that, and the other. And of course, and it got very physical. And he'd had enough. He'd been there for a few months. And just before it really kicked, he thought, no, someone's going to get really badly hurt here. That's human nature, isn't it? Tribalism.
I did spend a day in Cal State, California State Prison, in a place called Lancaster, about 70 miles north of Los Angeles. And I had a day there. But the African-American community, because I think it's something like 98% non-white men in this jail. Of 2,500 guys.
Wow.
They basically fell into tribes. So the African American guys did not speak to the Latino guys. There was just a big line down the middle. They just immediately they arrived, they went into their tribe, and that's the way they stayed. Yeah. You would think that because they're all in there together, that actually that's
not human nature.
Yeah,
that's why we get played, and that's why the front end of this show, when Phil and I were both kind of ranting and raving and frothing at the mouth, that's why we are where we are, because other people see that, understand it, and exploit it.
Yeah.
Alas, the time hurtles towards 1 o'clock. I know you two will carry on for a bit, but I must away because I'm off to a very good friend's wedding. So,
oh well, you've gone to John Lewis and bought an ashtray? Or have you got anything?
No, I've nipped to Hollywood. I'm going to bring back the D. I'm going to bring back the D.
Nobody buys ashtrays anymore.
No, I'm about to rename it. Before long, it'll become Hollywood.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
very good. Phil,
Well,
have a lovely wedding.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Jolly good. And I'm already down in West Sussex, which is partially.
Oh, look at that! Is that a proper setting or is that a fake background? Because it's so lovely. It looks like a fake background.
No, I am at the home of my friends Francoise and Andrew, who very kindly given me a place to do the show from today, and we're all off to further into West Sussex for a university gang weekend.
How lovely!
Oldest friends from University College London.
All right, and quick pop quiz. What was the original Hollywood sign? What did it actually say?
Hollywood Land.
Correctamundo. Why?
Land for sale.
Correctamundo again. She knows everything. It was an advertising sign, that was all. Chantal, thank you so much. Have a lovely time in the depths of West Sussex.
Yeah,
I could only dream. I'll be going to the West Isle of Liddell. That's as far as I can. Have a lovely time.
Yeah,
bye. Thank you so much. And that, gang, is it for another week. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our happy times, we've had our not happy times. Got great guests next week. Great guests next week. Don't miss out on Monday. Monday's going to be an absolute belter. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for joining us 3 times a week in numbers I could only have dreamt of. It's really appreciated. Thank you so much. I hope we continue to entertain. Anything particular you want us to do apart from get stuff, let me know and we'll see if we can incorporate it. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Until then, ta-ra, poppigers, not half.